What's up, guys? It's Brad here again with another Super Auto Pets video. I was thinking today we were going to take another look at the buy-sell pack, and I was going to make some changes and then jump into another game. I know last video I said I wasn't sure I wanted to make changes because, for example, the starfish didn't show up until like way late in the game, so I probably missed some pets, but I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of how things are working that I'd like to give it a shot. So let's jump right in now and check out our current buy-sell pack. Alright, so back on to tier 1. I mean, the obvious choice for me is I want to cut the otter. I thought this was better than it was, and in general, buy abilities a little bit worse than sell abilities, for a couple reasons really. One, the starfish, which is one of the key parts in the buy-sell, only works on sell abilities specifically. But the other reason is because, especially early, if I'm only buying pets that I'm going to be selling later, buying, then getting the stat buff right then is a little bit awkward because I don't really want my stats to get stuck on like a duck or a chinchilla or a marmoset. So, but also because I can put things that have sell abilities on the team, do a couple battles with them, and then sell them later for their value when I actually have key pieces that benefit from it. So, in general, let's stick with more sell abilities. I was also kind of let down by the mosquito. It used to be such a powerhouse, and the funny thing is it really hasn't changed. I think there's just so many options now that maybe it's a little bit worse. So I'm going to think about looking into something else. The original idea was to have a couple pets in tier 1 that I could actually start putting stats on, so I didn't have to worry about it. But in playing, I really think that the first tier, the first 2 rounds, I'm really just going to be buying as many of these buy-sell pets and trying to fill the team. Even leveling up one of them is fine, really, because it just makes their abilities better. So I really don't think I want the mosquito here. I'm going to keep the fish, though. Leveling up and giving the whole team a buff is still pretty nice, and tends to be something that happens later in tier 2 pets or the tier 3 zone, is when you get that many fish. It's also cool to split them up and do 2 level 2s and then combine them for a level 3 and you get a whole bunch of buffs for it. So I am going to keep the fish. One thing worth considering is this frog. I really didn't spend too much time talking about it. It might be worth taking in here. When you get it to level 2, it has a sell ability and it lets you swap the stats, which kind of covers the issue I was thinking earlier. So I could actually stat up something that I plan to get rid of later and then use the frog to sell it to something that I actually want to keep. So I think I might try that, but second of all, I do like the pill bug. Targeted stat buffs, it gives your 2 nearest pets behind health, which means I can choose what to put it on. But I think, again, we run into the same problem. I don't really have anything in the first tier that I want to give stats to, and even when I get to the second tier, there's probably a couple things that I would give stats to, but really, I mean, it is one of my favorite tier 1s, though. Getting stats from a tier 1 that are permanent is pretty solid. Now I could do the toy again because it is a buy ability, but it's the delayed buy ability, which means I should be at tier 2 by the time it breaks. That's not necessarily true if I get it on the first turn, right? First turn, then the second turn is still tier 1, and then the third turn would be when it breaks onto one of my tier 1s, so maybe that's not right. There is another pet here with a sell ability, but it's really not that good. Now, in building this team, it did seem like there was a lot of overlap kind of with feint and buy-sell somehow. It was really interesting. And it might be worth reworking the team to do that. It could be the most valuable way to handle it. That being said, I don't think I'm going to do it this time. We'll see where we go from there. But I've got 2 slots open now, so I think the frog is pretty cool, although I don't think I'm going to be buying it very often. And I mean, the toy is still good. But I am gonna... Actually, you know what? I'm not giving enough credit to the moth. It's good temporary stats. It only gives you the stats in battle, so they're never permanent. But this pack in general has weakness of early game, because I don't really want to scale any of these guys. So this actually kind of solves that. In fact, let's see how many are That's a 3-2. How many have more health? Because those are the ones that really benefit. 2-3, 2-3, 1-2. I mean, pig. So there are a couple pets that actually helps. And in fact, the moth itself is a 1-3, which is really sweet. Because you put it out in front, and it's a 3-3 at tier 1, which is pretty nuts. So I think I've convinced myself. I'm going to go with the temporary stats. The permanent stats are obviously good, but I think there's just not going to be enough things to put it on. So let's move on. I'm okay with this. In fact, now that I have the moth, it might be worth going again. Peach bacon. But remember, I do have the apple build here. I did not find myself really finding power in that strategy. I was kind of already committing into buy sell very soon here, and then we get the shrimp at the same time we'd get this worm. So I think I might... I'll save the Jerboa strat for another pack. I think that I'm going to go peach and bacon just for full control on my attack and toughness of my guys. So looking at here then, I guess we're going to cut the worm. The worm was never really that good. 2 gold for the apple is really just a 1 gold discount. I mean, it's pretty cool if you have the Jerboa, obviously, because you want an apple every turn, but it doesn't really work the way I want it to in this pack. I also didn't get this, which I think is pretty cool, especially later with the owl, which I think is a pretty solid pick, because the owl needs you to save a spot on your team, and so does the llama, if you remember. In fact, I'll show you. So the owl summons a mouse at the beginning of your turn, which means after you fight. So if you don't have room for it, then it won't summon the mouse. It'll just pop away and you won't get anything for it. But getting a mouse every turn is sweet. It's one of my favorite sell abilities anyway, because it is a sell ability. It nets you a gold when you sell the mouse, and it gives you a free apple. So generally pretty good. And I'm okay putting something in that summons something during battle because it doesn't last forever. It'll be gone by the start of your turn. So pretty sweet. And if I'm going to have an open spot for the nest to be spawned in battle, because that's the problem with it, is you have to have a spot, well, that synergizes with the owl because I'll have a spot anyway. So I don't know that there's a ton of changes I need to do to this tier. I actually got more use out of the guinea pig than I thought I would, but I still think it's worse than chinchilla, and I think it's worse than this too. Just in general, because one, again, buy ability is a little bit worse than sell abilities because you can choose when to use the sell ability. You basically have to commit to the buy ability right when you buy it. But I still liked it. It's more like redundancy, you know, having more of an effect that you want, even if it's worse, is usually better. So I'm looking around here, and I think actually most of this is pretty solid. I could get rid of the panda. I didn't really see myself going into the panda too much. So let's play with that idea. Salamander, start of battle. So most of my things are cells. I did add the moth, which is a start of battle, and this is a start of battle as well. So it might be worth considering, especially because it's kind of in the buy-sell world. And it works nicely with these because I can throw peaches on it. Did I buy the, did I do the lollipop as well? No, I didn't. Okay. I also like the pug. It's temporary buffs again. It gives them experience, essentially. But it does it in battle, so they can like level up in battle and things can happen. It is cool with the fish, because you can level it up and it gives your whole team stats, but it's only in battle, so it's not amazing. Yeah, I think I might just want to just go with a generally good pet. Not really sure here though. I mean, I could do, well, you're not. If I did the pill strat, this would be one of the main reasons to do that. And I don't even take pill, yeah. I mean, snail kind of fits the strategy, even though it's not a buy-sell anymore. Give friends only 1 health. It's not even +1/+1 anymore. This is tough. I'm actually not sure what I'd want to do here. I'll do the pug for now. It's kind of in the same vein as the panda, except that The panda forces a 4-man squad essentially because it sacrifices itself, but at the cost of actually having to have a 5-man squad, which kind of defeats the purpose of some of the things I'm doing, like this Robin. So I think we'll try the pug, and let's go ahead and move on. I find myself never using the rice. In fact, it's kind of like the, was it avocado? Yeah, where you get 3 gold the next turn. That's kind of like what it is. But as you can see, I didn't pick that either. So, but that leaves room for the pill, which is another reason maybe I go into the feint. Temporary stats could be nice early because I am running into an issue where I'm not winning early. I'm gonna try that. +3/+3 is pretty decent. Usually these will be better still. I mean, I think these are just permanent stats in general are so much stronger than temporary stats. Tier 3. I feel like I've used all of these pets. I still like the giraffe. Targeted stat buffs are really nice. The earlier the better. Wasp is pretty good. But I gotta think of something I would want to cut in order to make room for these. Now, I mean, some of these are definitely not really the strategy, so I could make room. I'll keep this tier the same for now. I kind of like it. Yeah, I'll keep it the same for now. I think that's pretty good. Still like the scaling foods. I don't find myself ever using garlic. Push opposite enemy 1 space forward on start of battle. This could be worth. Give 3 pets from the current shop tier or higher +1/+1. So it could be worth if I'm trying to, because most of the higher level things are things that I'm actually going to keep. The lower tier ones are the ones that I usually want to sell, so that's probably worth it. And yeah, I'll try it. Bison's still pretty good. Because I want level up on shrimps or owl, or there's a few things, fish for example, that I want to get to level 3 as soon as I can, and bison gives me a reason to keep it. Giving itself stats all the time is always good. Dragonfly's been a little bit more awkward than I thought it would be in experience, just because it's usually giving 1 or 2 stats, and one of those is usually just the thing I'm buying to sell, which doesn't feel too great. I will get rid of the jerboa though. And something that is pretty cool is the caterpillar, and I missed this last time. What's cool about it is that it builds itself up over time. At the start of your turn, which means after your battle, it will give itself a chocolate essentially. And what's cool about that in buy sell is technically it's increasing how much gold you're gonna get when you sell it. Because if it gets itself to tier 3, that's 3 gold. Or I mean level 3, sorry. It gets it builds value over time. Which I guess is better than nothing, so we'll try that. Seagull's kind of cool. Because I can start throwing like these on the seagull, and then whenever I summon stuff, they get it too. Still a little bit awkward with the buy-sell stuff. I mean, I might just keep the dragonfly. It's still pretty good stats, even if it's not being used very much, because all of these are just, yeah, not a ton of synergy with what I want to do. Yeah, I mean, I could go squirrel. Discounts all the shop food, but it's only the first shown ones. I think you can freeze them and keep reducing the price though. But I don't think it's worth getting rid of the dragonfly for. Still like the toy bison. Obviously, buffalo's insane. Crow's nuts. This is maybe. I haven't gotten it yet. I still believe in it though. We're gonna move on to the next tier. I think that's pretty good. Turns out I might not be doing as many changes as I thought I was. Yeah, I think that's pretty lame. I mean, this is still good. I like it. I've used the monkey a couple times. I haven't really used the scorpion much. We'll see if there's something that would replace it. I could do Fox just because I don't have the pill. That is really the main downside of the Fox. At the end of the turn, it just grabs something from the food bank, or one of the 2 food spots, and it just eats it by itself, and it's random. The problem is if it's pill, it just kills itself. But I don't run pill in this pack, which is pretty rare, so maybe it's worth running. But then again, it could eat something that you freeze and that you wanted to save for later. Still seems like pretty bad downside. Still like you. Poodle's still really good, especially because I usually like shrimps tier 2, starfish is tier 3, owls tier 3. They're a little bit spread out, the ones that I actually want to keep. I mean, yeah. I haven't used this, but this kind of is the same as the robin. In the sense that if I already have a 4-man squad, this is pretty good, because it fills 2 slots without taking 2 slots. Yeah, I mean, all of this is pretty good too, so I'm gonna move on. This might be a lot shorter than I thought. I have never used this so far. It's always so awkward. I'm gonna drop it from the pack just because I don't think I'm ever gonna use it. Fly is just good value to buy sometimes. I'm not in a summon pack, but it gives you a bunch of free flies. 3 free flies essentially in the battle. It's pretty good. Jeez, Gorilla's a 7/10 to start. I do have a lot of health on my pets. It might be worth going for Snake, because Shrimp is always divvying out health, health, health. That they're gonna survive a couple attacks. So Snake gets better the more health you have on your team, essentially. Because you get to keep pinging every time the friend ahead attacks. I'll put it in for now. That's tempting, but how much does position really matter on this team? I mean, I still like being able to position my team. It still could be pretty good. We decided that I like this because I can end on it. It's kind of like an avocado. I still don't even run avocado, but I still kind of like it. We'll see. I'm not sure. I definitely really like reindeer. It gives itself melon every time it attacks for just a couple attacks. Ooh. Could go into Cobra for the same reason I wanted to go into Snake. Just let me think for a sec. Yeah, that could be worth cutting the shark for. I'll try it. Okay, let's try a little shift up there. I like everything else. Dragon is still clutch. Bird of Paradise is insane. Activate nearest friend head. I don't actually know how many buy effects I have now. Oyster still nuts. Still like Lioness. It's a good pivot in this pack. If I don't get a good start by tier 6, I mean, maybe that doesn't happen as often as I think it would. Chicken leg, targeted stats, +1 the whole team. I forget what some of these do. Deal 8 damage to last enemy before attacking once. Now that I've got snakes, it might be worth going for mushroom. In fact, I don't really like soft ice as much. That way I can put it on the snake, so if the snake gets sniped, it still spawns at its level as a 1/1. So it can still do its damage, because it doesn't really matter what the snake itself's stats are. Oftentimes you'll see things get just sniped out, and it's kind of nice to be able to know that it's still going to be there for the effect. We'll try it. That's really interesting. This really makes me want to do a hurt pack, because I wonder, can I put this on a pet and then have something at the end of turn deal a damage to one of my pets, and then I get 15 health from one food? That seems insane. But also just like... Okay, I'm gonna go on a tangent on a hurt build. We'll try that, I think, in a future video, because I really do like the hurt build. It seems pretty cool. That being said, we made a couple changes to the team. Yeah, so I'm just gonna call it there. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will be uploading the second part of this, which is the actual gameplay, right after I built it, later this evening, so look for that. But everybody leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll keep them coming. It's Brad out.